Our next guest, Liz Grasnick, operates Happy Hollow Farm, that's in Missouri. Some of her annual revenue came from these programs that have been shut down. Liz, welcome to CNN this morning. Thank you for being with us. I just want to start with all of these different programs being cut. Food banks, even USAID, these are all places that farmers put their produce, right? So what has all this meant for your business?
Well, it's been pretty devastating, the thought of losing, for me personally, about a quarter of my annual sales. It's going to be, there's pretty much no way to make that up. And it's not just me. There are farmers all over the country that I know, small scale organic vegetable farmers like me, that were raising produce, took out loans to expand our production, add more equipment, build more facilities to be able to meet this demand, to meet these programs, to fill food boxes that were going to schools and that were going to low-income communities. So it's going to be really devastating, not just for me, but for so many small-scale farmers across the country that I know, because we've been talking and trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Some people listening might think, well, maybe that means we're going to get cheaper prices at the grocery store because now there's going to be all this supply. What does that mean for you guys?
I don't think so, because what it means for most of us is that we're going to have to shrink our production. We're going to have to lay off employees. We've already bought seeds. We've already started the planting. For some of us, like for me in Missouri, we've already planned out our production for this season. But if we can't depend on the fact that those sales are going to exist, we can't afford to take that risk. So that means we're going to have to shrink our production. It doesn't mean that there's going to be more food and that it'll be less expensive. If anything, I still have the same bills to pay. So it's probably going to mean that my prices are going to have to go up. But it certainly means that my production is going to be less, and I'll have to lay off some employees.
One more very quick question. We've heard from the president, Republicans saying that this trade war, et cetera, these decisions, they're better for the long run, that it's just a disturbance. What's your response to them, who are basically asking for patience?
This money wasn't a handout. This money wasn't, our government subsidizes agriculture in a huge way. And most of that subsidy money goes to commodity crops like corn and soybeans. It's not going to food that's actually feeding people. And feeding people shouldn't be political. This food was going to schools, to kids, to, like I said, to low-income, elderly folks in low-income communities. And it's high nutrient-dense produce, dairy, protein. It was food that was feeding people. And like I said, this shouldn't be political. A bunch of farmer friends that I know, we're small farmers. We are small scale farmers. We can't afford, thousands of dollars to just poof go away. It's not like we can find other markets where we can sell the product that we're growing. We're resilient. I've set up a Give Butter campaign because I don't want to make this production stop. I also don't want to stop or not be able to provide the food that I was growing to the two organizations locally. So I'm trying to do what I can. And I know a number of other local small farms that are sort of doing the same thing to try to figure out how we're going to make up this difference. But it's really difficult. And like I said, feeding people shouldn't be political. This money was,
Well, Liz Grasnick, first of all, thank you for feeding your community. I'm sorry you're going through this. Thank you for joining CNN this morning.